Tyler, Mr. Trees Trimble. Today we're talking about thinning fruit. It's really important to keep in mind 1 pound of fruit will always be tastier than 10 pounds of fruit, and the tree doesn't care about producing super high quality, big meaty pieces of fruit that are delicious and sweet. All it cares about is producing a whole bunch of little teeny tiny golf ball pieces of fruit, because they can contain its seed, and it can live on as long as it gets that job done. So if you let it do it at once, you'll get a whole bunch of small, poor quality fruit. So that being said, what you need to do when we're early spring, after you get your big first fruit set, and they're all getting to be, you know, around quarter or nickel size, somewhere in that realm. This apple's a good example. Off of this spur, there's 5 apples. All in this one little 6 apples. All in this little, you know, small area here. So what you're gonna want to do, same thing here. There's 5 or 6 apples off of this one spur. If you let this happen, they'll all be really tiny, and the love will be spread out too thin, and none of them will be great. So what you got to do is you pick the dominant one and you pull off pretty much all the rest. I'm going to leave this second one, so a cluster of 6 down to 2 for a good start. Here's a cluster of 5. We're going to cluster of 5 down to 1. Anything that's on the ends of the branches that are going to bend and warp these things, especially on structure branches, are a no-no. So we always pull those off of the tips of all these so that we don't warp any branches. If there was something up here on this nice tall branch here, and it was going to bend this whole thing over and warp it, it would make this tree look crappy forever. So always cut your losses. Encourage apples to start setting in stronger places, you know, lower in the tree or more centralized in the tree. That way you don't have any issues. Peaches and nectarines and things are usually a little bit more notorious for bending and breaking branches because they're always at the tips. But cluster of 6 down to 2, give them a little bit of space in here so you can get, you know, those apples to start forming, so they got some elbow room. And you just go through all these little clusters, and you know, you just pick the best couple and make a little room for others. And if you have a hard time pulling off fruit, you know, it pains you, do a couple a day, and a few a day is a lot easier than a whole bunch at one time. So do thin. You will see an extreme difference. You want to do a test, do one, you know, pick 2 trees that are similar in production and size, thin one really well, see what the fruit's like, and do not thin the other, and then you can be your own judge on that. But we'll do a little bit on these peaches here. And as you can see, a store size peach or a good homegrown peach could be, you know, baseball size. If you let these two try to be baseball size on the end of this branch, it's gonna warp this thing. So we're out here at the tips. Good rule, 6 to 8 inches from the tips of any structure branch. Pull off any of the fruit that sets there. That way you don't warp anything. Encourage it to set down low in here. But same thing, clusters of 4 or 5 down to 1 or 2. And as you can see, these ones are already going to try to get, you know, we got 4 in this vicinity. It'll never work out like that. So we'll 3 on this branch here, so we'll thin 3 to 1. Now this one piece will be beautiful and lush and meaty. And you just kind of go through all of your trees that way. Don't be afraid. See how these are bending all these down, warping them already? So there's a good 6-inch rule. We strip those down. You know, just leave a couple in that regard. There's a couple of little small branches like this in the middle. Leave those, you know, if they're not too overloaded, you know, who cares if those warp or break. But anything structurally important, definitely make sure you thin off a lot of fruit on the very ends. This goes for everything. I'm Tyler, Mr. Trees Trimble. Thanks for watching.